Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
You missed nothing in the pre-show.
Oh my God, no.
It was like being in an old age home.
It was kind of, yeah. I like to think of it as that scene in Jaws where they're comparing their scars.
but more
Yeah,
boring.
but imagine that when they're 30 years older and just much worse.
It was the front porch of the retirement home conversation, people.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But anyway, again, we're still in the holiday season. Try to enjoy the holidays, people. I know it's crazy how I'm always amazed that it is December.
I know. It's crazy how fast it crept up on us, but it's here.
It is very crazy. So hopefully you're doing something fun. You have some time off or any of that good stuff. We'll probably do an end of the season show or something.
Yes, Darren, we got your note, Darren, and we might be able to accommodate you at some point on the upcoming week.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, our schedule is so busy that we'll try to fit that in.
Right.
No, that's a good suggestion. Thank you. So look forward to that in, I don't know, one of the next 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah,
we'll probably do, 2 more before the holidays.
Yes.
I'm guessing. So more on that
later. And we've got to hopefully get together if we can to do our annual gift exchange extravaganza.
Yep, definitely. Got everything under control for that.
I do not. Okay.
Yes, I am actually way ahead of where I usually am.
Yeah, I have stuff ordered.
I was
nothing's here
actually
yet.
ahead weeks and months, mind you. I had something that just came to me. Anyway, more on that in a few weeks. Today, Ghostbusters Afterlife and probably Discovery Season 4. At least the first couple shows. We'll see.
Yes, our thoughts so far.
Yes. And maybe something else. So we'll try to keep it positive. No, that's fine. No, it's not. We'll discuss that. Check us out. As you listen to this, there will be last week's Facebook and Instagram, which I didn't do yet. I totally dropped the ball on that because of booster reactions and things like that, but it'll be there. But check our Instagram out for pictures of what we're talking about, especially the stuff that we keep buying, which we shouldn't be, but that's fine.
It just happens. Shit happens.
It just happens. It happened to you the worst 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
when Barry bought himself the exact thing
that was
sitting
like 6 feet away from me at the point that he bought it. It was like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that what I am going to talk about later, neither of you are going to buy.
Likewise.
I got you a Marillion poster and
signed by 4 members of the band.
Signed by all 4 of the surviving members or whatever. And you ruined it last week.
Yep.
Yeah, thinking that's not the case, but okay. I'm sorry if that is the case.
I would have had to actually have heard of them.
Yeah, that would be a thing. That would be a thing.
Yeah, I felt pretty safe because of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, but we'll talk about that. So let's go random. I'm going to give it to Todd.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it to you because this. I'm sure you want to claim this.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Kevin Feige confirms Charlie Cox will continue to play Daredevil in the MCU.
He said, if Daredevil appears in the MCU, it will be played by Charlie Cox.
Here's the quote. If you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, would be the actor playing Daredevil.
Which you
would
say
that.
Why would we say that? And when we see that remains to be seen.
Right.
So he kind of confirmed it.
Which means he's in Spider-Man. So,
you don't...
Because he wouldn't have said it if he wasn't. I mean, why say it now?
No, why would you say that unless you have a contract?
Of course.
Unless you have a contract. Charlie Cox is also like the anti-Tom Holland, okay? It's like every time he's asked, he says, well, if there's a chance of it happening in the future, I don't want to say anything that would potentially jeopardize those chances because people, very happy in Marvel, maybe they'll see this stuff or hear it, and it could influence things. Says, so I don't know. I have no idea. I love how passionate the fans are. I feel very, very touched that so many have gone online and made their voices heard about the desire for me to come back. So
because Charlie Cox is like, please don't let me screw this up.
Yeah, he's just like, again, Yeah, no, he has probably got a 300-page non-disclosure agreement, but this is awesome, and this is what I've been waiting for. I'm super pleased about this, and
Could he show up in Hawkeye?
he could theoretically show up in Hawkeye.
I mean, we'll talk about Hawkeye again at another time, but there is talk of
Potentially, yep.
Kingpin.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, okay. So I won't say what I was going to say because we'll save it for when we talk about
Yep.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, but anyway, Barry, what do you got?
I have two things. I'm going to go with this one because I'm going to leave the other one in case you're picking it up. So X06 is a company that's making Star Trek, 12-inch Star Trek figures, and we've talked about them, I think, in the past. They have put out a First Contact Data. They put out a First Contact Picard. They had announced a Voyager Janeway. I hadn't been on their website in a while. I had texted you guys a picture last week. They've got a Mirror Universe Spock figure that's up for pre-order now. It's actually available at our sponsor as well.
That was
looks
the
unbelievable.
headline of the sponsor.
Well, right. It looks unbelievable. But I didn't even realize Janeway is sold out. They put out Janeway and she's already sold out in pre-orders. And they put out a Voyager Doctor, the holographic Doctor.
I think I had heard that.
And he's already sold out in pre-orders. And they look great.
Okay.
I wanted to bring it up just because
pre-orders on the site. There are other there are a bunch of retailers that have orders in that you can still order, because I noticed that too. But
I ordered Data from Fanboy.
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up though is that I had no idea they were announcing this many figures this fast, and that they were putting them up for pre-sale already. It's pretty great, and they look fantastic.
I was talking to Troy about this last week, and he said one of the things that he likes about them is that they're not doing the obvious figures, that they're going, they're kind of skipping around, and they're doing, they're not just kind of continuing from the previous line and then just doing the next bridge crew member.
The Doctor from Voyager that to me is like,
but
I would have not expected them to go there that fast.
Fan-loved character.
100%. 100%.
And
I don't mean that as a negative.
They're really smart to do this, because the more things they get out there in people's hands, the more people are going to be like, oh, I need one of those too. And then, this is, and I got to say, the Mirror Universe Spock is brilliant. I mean, it was a great place to jump back into TOS. And here's something you can get without feeling like you missed out on those earlier figures. Well,
and it's also something you can get without feeling like there's 6 other characters you have to get
That's
in order
what I'm
to
saying.
do the display.
This is great, and I'm going to feel the same way when.
I'm definitely getting.
Yeah. I already pre-ordered, so
I have to do that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that in the commercial, but we'll get there. So what do I got? So they announced that there is going to be a Shang-Chi sequel directed by Destin Cretton. I'm not sure how he pronounces his name. There's 2 T's. But good for him. He did a excellent job with that movie. I'm glad they're sticking with the same director. I like how, that's what's cool about the Mirror Universe. Like John Watts with all the Spider-Man, the Russo brothers, they stick with the director who's done a good job. And, they don't say it, but did they sort of bail on directors who didn't do the best job? Maybe.
Yeah. It's also availability. I mean,
we didn't see Kenneth Branagh come back.
When they go when they're planning stuff this far out, they know what they're going to do. So
I'm glad they stick with it. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. That's good. Barry, you had something else?
I do. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to grab this one, but so let's talk about our friend Patty Jenkins, because
I haven't seen anything.
Variety reported today that Patty Jenkins is stepping down from directing Cleopatra, which was the Gal Gadot movie. So she's still going to produce it, but she's not directing it.
I saw an article. It didn't say that.
This was Variety, so I put a lot of stock in when they report something.
Variety's, it's not.
But here's the weird part. This is why I really bring it up. Variety's article said she's pivoting her attention to her next 2 projects, Wonder Woman 3 and Star Wars Rogue Squadron. I thought she was done with Rogue Squadron, to be quite honest. So who knows? Maybe it's a timing thing, and maybe Rogue Squadron isn't dead.
It could very well be that she didn't have time in her schedule to make that movie, and she got into conflict with Disney about that this is what the thing was their creative differences and stuff were that she'd overcommitted herself, and they told her she's got to clear some stuff
I would
off the
expect the
board.
Variety writers to know about all of that was out in the news a few weeks ago. So the fact that they're still reporting that as one of her next 2 projects, maybe it will be. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm looking up to see what else she did. She did Monster.
I want to see that it's back on. I want to see them officially say that there's a
Me too. Because we talked about it at length, so I won't go all the way back and rehash it. But I was pretty excited by that teaser she put out and by her enthusiasm and her story about her father being a fighter pilot and all that. I thought it gave it
and then I saw
potential
Wonder
for a
Woman
really good
1984,
story.
and I was like, what the shit?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
If that was if anything was going to make me question it, it was that. But
interesting.
so anyway, I just thought that was interesting that was reported today.
Any other random?
Yeah,
that
I got
could
one
very
quick
well.
thing.
Good, because I was going to say that could be the shortest random we've ever had.
Kobe Smudders will return as Maria Hill in Secret Invasion.
We haven't seen her much
We have
at
not.
all.
No.
She had that show that got canceled.
Yep. And
Oh yeah, that she was a private eye.
Yeah,
So-
I watched it. It was okay.
the comic was better. I know I was that. So, yeah, be interesting. I mean, I kind of theorized that she's never actually been Maria Hill. I think she's been the Skrull all along, all throughout all her appearances. So we'll find out. So
I feel like if you're getting Nick Fury, you got to have Maria Hill.
Oh, I think
with
so
him,
too.
yeah.
But I also think, how cool is it be that he's basically had these Skrull allies? It would be totally Nick Fury to do this, like that he's had these people working with him this whole time. So
Yeah, Captain Marvel was on. Always gets better every time you watch
Yep.
it. I wonder what
Yeah.
did I get, Barry? What did I give it on my list?
You mean my list?
yeah, Barry's now the keeper of Dave's list.
I'm gonna increase it, whatever I gave it.
I'm gonna go in and change all of your ratings around. Just
I have a
I
copy,
like
so
that
it's
movie
okay.
from day one, and I still like that movie a lot.
I liked it from day one too. It just is very watchable.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it's not on this list. Let's see. It has to be. Infinity. It's before Infinity War. No, it's after Infinity War, right?
after Infinity War, before Endgame.
No, this list I don't think. I think the last movie on this list was actually Infinity War. Because I've got to really let's make that a project. We have to really define these lists.
What the world needs is another show of us ranking those movies.
That's
I'm not
what
saying
they
we have
really
to talk
I'll
about
tell
it.
you,
I just want to
it's
have it.
It's like a hole in the universe, Barry, that just needs to be filled.
I have Thor: The Dark World at 6. That's too high.
That
has
is
to move
way
down.
too high. Okay.
Way too high. Anyway,
revisit this
we'll
another
do
time.
a whole list show of a list of lists.
Yep.
But you know what should be on everybody's Christmas list? Going to Fanboy Collectibles to buy
Good
somebody
segue.
something.
Yes.
As Barry mentioned, Exo-6 Mirror Universe Spock up for pre-order. Check it out. I know I'm getting it. I got to email him right now.
In fact, he said when I emailed him, he said, "I knew I'd be hearing about you guys about this figure." So
Yes. SH Monster Arts Hedorah. We haven't seen too many Monster Arts stuff. Also known as the Smog Monster. Everybody's favorite,
Godzilla villain, yeah.
everybody's favorite Republican friend, the Smog Monster. Whatever that means, those jerk-offs. Nightcrawler has a cool statue. Check that out. There's pops, and there's keychain pops, and there's little zombie things, and there's everything.
there's
Hot toys.
there's a crocodile Loki figure that comes with a President Loki figure.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So
Yeah. I want just the crocodile.
Yeah.
But check all that stuff out. It's still time for Christmas. Give them a call. Go on their website. Go to the store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. So check all that out. Okay, boy, we're 20 minutes ahead.
okay, this is good. So Dave,
Yeah, 'cause Todd's got a topic to
Let's-
throw at you.
let's talk Hawkeye just briefly here.
Did you guys set me up?
Yes, we did.
You walked
So,
away before we recorded.
Did
so
you
there
watch
go.
the third episode of Hawkeye?
Third episode was the worst one that they've had so far.
Okay.
So That show's dead. No, the third one was awesome. The third one was what I was looking for out of that show.
Good. I'm glad because I honestly
the arrows, the drive. It was just
if you did not like that episode, you just need to quit and walk away. Because
no. I did like that episode.
I told Barry I think that is the best episode of any MCU series so far.
I would agree with that. Yeah. It was
I totally would agree with that. It had what I was looking for. I felt the other first two were a little slow.
Yeah.
You know, again, if I didn't know there were only 6, then maybe I wouldn't care so much. But I'm like, Jesus, we have 6. We got to get moving. So,
but if they keep this, if they can approach this level for the rest of the series, this is going to be unbelievable, and we'll see. But this was, you know, again, the car chase scene was better than the entirety of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I mean, it's you know. The character building, the slow burn character building that they did in the first 2 episodes paid off really well here. You knew who they were. They made sense. It made sense. All these little disparate pieces came together. It was funny. It was the action was phenomenal. The arrow thing was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
That's all the stuff that you want. Like you see him going through his arrows, and you're like, "What's going on with that?" But them sort of explaining it was cool.
Pym arrow at the end was just my favorite.
Which one?
The what?
The Pym arrow that he hit the other arrow.
That was awesome. With the giant arrow coming down.
The Pym arrow, but like when they're sliding over the train.
I love the way it has the logo on it. Like, really?
Yeah.
When they were sliding over the train, and she says, and this is where you would use the suction cup arrow. You know.
It was great. And actually, it's funny. My friend Michael, who I've been friends with forever and who listens to the show, texted me. And he's like, I really hope Dave likes the 3rd episode because he listened to last week's show.
Yeah.
And then he watched the 3rd episode. So
the 3rd episode but this is the perfect example of 3 episodes is the new pilot. Because that you needed those 3 episodes to get who they were established and everything. And there's a lot they've set up here. And we'll go more into
I wish there were 8. I mean, 6 is just not enough.
It doesn't feel like it's enough at this point. But boy, they got some shit on the board, and they did a good job with the pieces. And I'm glad you've seen the light. So it's
I just had very high expectations for this one. And that's why I was not as enthralled by the first 2. But yeah, I agree. That's probably the best episode of everything we've seen in the Marvel TV show.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, now Ghostbusters?
Sure. Yeah, we can go to Ghostbusters now. So I apologize. It took me longer than both of you to see it, but I did finally...
It took me 2 months to see freaking Shang-Chi, so
that's true.
Don't worry about it.
So I just wanted to start out with saying it. So I went last Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. to the high-end movie theater in my multiplex. You can pay extra for it. It's the edge-to-edge screen. It's the Dolby Atmos sound. It's the luxurious seating. We were the only 3 people in that theater.
That's crazy.
If I had rented that theater, it would have cost me $1,000. A private screening. So that was fun. So. Yeah. I mean, unfortunate for the movie industry, but great for me and my wife and my son.
It's still doing okay. It did $100 million at the box office. Eternals still did more, but it's 2 weeks longer.
Right.
But, you know, it's scary how little these movies are making. But
yeah, but they're moving them to digital a lot faster.
Yeah, they are.
Ever did
because
before,
it's what they need to do. We'll see where the market goes from here.
Who owns this? I wonder where. I mean, I know it'll go across the board, but I wonder where this will ultimately. Is this a Paramount?
It's just going to go to. It's going to go to on demand and digital downloads and.
But I'm curious if it winds up for free on one of the services. It's not. Yeah.
Somebody will be streaming it. I'm
just wondering if it's Paramount
when it gets there.
Releasing anyway. What did everyone think?
I love this movie.
Todd and I sort of conversed a little.
Well, we haven't talked at all.
I love this movie. I feel that it was everything I wanted, and a lot of what I expected. There wasn't huge surprises. I was surprised the degree to which they went into some things, but I wanted a sentimental, just kind of rolling fan service tribute to the original. Okay, I didn't want them to reset the board. I didn't want them to go to just like completely make this try to make this into something else. And I guess maybe I'm the target audience for this film, but I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I did too. I agree. And it's funny. It's like, you look at it and you think Star Wars and Force Awakens. It's almost like it's the Death Star. It's Gozer.
Well,
but
that's actually the point I was going to make. Exactly.
They did it in a way that it hasn't gone away. I mean, and I was fine with that. And
I actually wrote that down because it felt to me like. And I don't know when Jason Reitman wrote this script, if it was before Force Awakens came out or after, but it almost felt like somebody said, hey, look what they did with Force Awakens. You can take a familiar story and bring in new characters, but have the older characters there in supporting roles, and maybe you kill one, and it really felt like that. But I didn't have it. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think that they did it the right way.
I honestly think it did it. I love Force Awakens for a lot of reasons, not so much for the Death Star and all that nonsense, which is a bit of a rehash. But I thought they kind of did it and added another element. Yeah, all this supernatural stuff, for whatever it's worth, it doesn't seem to end. It's always like these prophecies of, on this year this happened, 100 years later that. So I like how they tied all that in.
And again, I liked how they tied it into the original, and they had the guy that built that building, and
all that was very cool.
I thought that was clever,
cool, and how we went to this place.
It was all part of one thing. They just didn't research it until later, until they found these other connections. I thought that was great. I think again, if you never saw Ghostbusters, this was not the film for you. If you have no attachment to Ghostbusters, this was not the film for you. But they've done. Over the years, they've revisited 40-year-old properties like this a number of different ways, and we've seen it done wrong many, many times. We've seen it done wrong in the Terminator series. We've seen, this was the good way of doing it. This was more akin to, I guess, Blade Runner 2049. Where you introduced some new characters, you worked around, you tied in the older characters. You didn't piss on the original, okay? But you were reverent of it, and you gave a coda to it, and I think, like I said, I didn't mind that it wasn't an urban setting. I didn't mind that it was kid focused. I didn't mind kid centric.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes when you try to turn these things, I'm trying to think. I don't know what turn into, but you do a kids movie. I'm trying to think of what that could be, but that would not play for me if it was a pure kids movie.
No, it wasn't. But I'm saying going to
a movie for adults that had kids in it.
Yeah. But there were elements of this that felt a little bit like Goonies, but not. Again, it wasn't Goonies, but there were elements that
that's a good example. Goonies to me is a kids movie. I can't watch.
Yeah, that but it wasn't that way, and it was also like smart kids. And it was like kids acting like
Grace
adults.
Is
and
fantastic.
Oh my God, she was awesome.
She's incredible. I mean,
she held her own against every one of those adult actors.
Are you talking about McKenna Grace?
She's fantastic.
It's funny, and for the life of me, I can only think of girls, like young girls who have done this. Natalie Portman in The Professional. I think the Fanning sisters, who were like Ellie Fanning in that 8 whatever. The J.J. Abrams thing.
Oh, Super 8,
Super 8, her sister in War of the Worlds. These like 10-year-old, 12-year-old girls who were just like, they're acting circles around people. And this girl is one of them.
I mean, she's fantastic. To me, she was one of the, in Captain Marvel, she played the young Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And
I didn't realize that.
She's just got,
I picture her
for
totally.
A little kid, she's got a lot of presence. And she's very emotive, and I think she carried it. She just did it.
And I give her a ton of credit because it's funny. Now that you say that, I see that little girl who got hit by the pitch, and she stands up, and she's got this long blonde hair. For her to completely change her look to be in this movie, not that that's a big, but there are kids who'd be like, "No, that's how I'm known. My long blonde hair."
But the thing is,
and for her to completely change her look,
this is an actress.
I give her a ton of credit.
And they did such a good job with her look, right down to where the glasses sat on her nose and the whole kind of thing. And like I said, I taught girls for 23 years. This girl exists, okay? It's like she's nerdy but super smart, and it's like this was a very real person.
She carried this movie. If you were like, who's the star of this movie?
Oh, yeah.
She's the star of this movie.
There's no question of that whatsoever.
In the casting and in the way that they in the costuming and the way that everything they did with her, she looked like Egon's relative.
Oh, she totally did.
Totally looked like she was his descendant.
Yeah, they did a great job with that, and it was just they got the visual cues right. They made
the mother looks nothing like him, but she did.
As surly and I mean, they made him an unbelievable 15-year-old teenager. But he wasn't the interesting one, and she was.
Yeah, that's funny because you look at the credits, and it's like the mother. It's I think that Finn dude, and then maybe someone else, and then her. But I mean, she's definitely, and she runs circles around these people. I mean, and it's funny. You think of who do you put in that Paul Rudd role, and you could put somebody else in that role, and it would not have wound up like this because I mean, hey, Paul Rudd is hot right now, sexiest man alive, according to me and people, but he's in a ton of stuff. He's a much bigger star than the role he had in this movie, but he's like, fine, I am not the star of this movie. This girl is. Someone else in this role would have screwed that up.
I agree.
But you also, if you had told him, you probably all you needed to do was tell him you're basically playing the Rick Moranis role. And I'm sure that he probably grew up on this movie, so he was probably.
I would bet he had some connection to this movie too, where he felt warm and fuzzy enough about it that he wanted a toe in.
But that's the right guy. You would have put someone else with a bigger ego in this role, and they would not have stood for this the what is basically a supporting.
It was definitely was supporting.
You needed somebody with a comic sensibility to replace the Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd characters because you really didn't have anybody funny other than him. I mean, that was okay because it worked, but you needed that. Somebody needed to fill that hole.
Yeah.
And the other kid, this kid Logan Kim, has never been in anything before this. Yep. This is the first thing he's ever been in.
And I think he held up really well.
I mean, for that being the case, he was great.
I for what it's worth, I just enjoyed the fact that he was a podcaster.
And
his podcast.
Like
Some of us can relate to that. So over the top. It's like, and like they made friends immediately because no one wants to be around this guy. It was pretty obvious, but it was. I thought it was great. I love that when they grabbed the old jumpsuits, he took the time to take magic markers and write his name on the chest. And then, I know we're spoiling this.
That's who this kid is.
I know we're spoiling it, but I also just loved at the end that he found his listener.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That he was like, "Oh, you know me."
Yeah.
Like... And again, spoilers. I didn't watch or read anything. I mean, I wasn't even sure Bill Murray was in this until, I kind of had inklings because I saw little tidbits of him being interviewed. But, because there was talk of, in one incarnation of not this movie, a Ghostbusters sequel, that he was dead and he would come back as a ghost. But I wasn't sure he was actually even going to be in it. I'm glad I was spoiler free. But
I purposely avoided everything, and I even listened to a podcast interview with Jason and Ivan, and they were good about saying, "All right, here's where we're going to put spoilers in," and I stopped the podcast because I didn't want to know anything.
But it was nice to see him come back.
Yeah,
it was great to see all of them, and I love that they all had different directions they went in, and they weren't predictable, but they weren't a stretch. And
Mark signed up for the spring term of one of his classes because that's where he's teaching, where Mark goes to school, Tony Cortland.
I was cracking up when I heard that.
Yeah, prepare to get shocked.
But that was also funny because the movie ends. We're waiting around because you had both told me they were post-credit scenes, and then in the credits they post Sigourney Weaver's name, and I'm like, wait a minute, where was she? And then
everybody said Sigourney Weaver. What do you mean? And then it was
go right into it. I mean, they found a way of working her in there. I love the way they put Annie Potts in there. I mean, it was just again, this was a loving tribute to the original film, and I love the way they reference it. Like having the YouTube video of the original ad, and like Paul Rudd being one of the few people who remembered or cared about this this incident, And
and then he asks them, like, you don't know about this? They're like, we weren't born.
yeah, it's like, believe me, this is what I do this all day, every day with kids. And it's like, I'll talk about things that seem like recent history. And they're like, as far as they're concerned, didn't happen. And so, I think it's, I'm sure there's things they could have done better. I will say I have rarely seen a film as savaged by the critics as this film has been, that I just absolutely thoroughly enjoy.
First of all, I didn't even know there's still critics around.
Yeah.
I guess what we're doing is critics, but I'm not telling you to see or not see it based on this, but these people still have jobs. Who gives a shit?
It's amazing that in this day and age they have that much power.
This is getting like 3s on a scale of 1 to 10. They have a huge issue with the sentimentality of it. They have a huge issue with the...
How do you have issue with the sentimentality? I mean, we didn't even talk about Harold Ramis. I didn't even really dig into that until it's unfolding on screen. But, to me, Ghostbusters is definitely at the top of one of my lists as we refer to episode whatever. To me, you can't make it without Harold Ramis, but the way they tied him back into this, not being alive, was fantastic.
With the total
and very sentimental.
Total consent of his family.
Absolutely.
And I got to say, I expected a tease. I expected just a little bit of, again, this was Luke at the end of Mandalorian. This was like, you expected to see a glimpse of him under the hood. And he pulled the hood back, and you saw, he was having conversations. Here, this guy was standing there in a row with the other guys, and
I'm glad he didn't speak. Though.
Oh yeah, no, I am too.
I think that was perfect.
And
that was fantastic.
They went much further down that line than I expected they would go, but it worked.
And you wanted, not only the character. He wrote this thing too, so. Or at least part of it. Yep. So this belongs to him. And they really, how do you complain about sentimentality? They really handled building a tribute to Harold Ramis in this movie that, really did it justice.
Yeah, so going back to the critic thing, I just looked it up. It's got a 62 on the tomato meter, but a 95 audience score.
Right, and
what is wrong with those people?
I know.
But the tomato meter, and and again, there's a lot of people who rate it harsher
62.
than that. And
what is that 2016 one that we refused to see?
But that's what I'm saying.
I can look it up.
Critics like that movie. Fans hated that movie, and this is the thing. This is what I'm getting to, saying, don't make films for critics. Make films for the fans.
You don't want to know.
Okay.
Jesus, it was. I had a tear in my eye when at the end. How could you not?
And this is the thing: it's like, okay, fan service is not a dirty phrase. Okay, if you make something that makes the fans happy, okay,
and there are
the fans are the ones buying the tickets. Okay, if you make the movie that people want to see, that didn't become a bad thing all of a sudden.
Yeah,
so the Abomination 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah,
it's got a 74% critic rating.
Of course it does.
49% audience rating. And so it's the opposite.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In these articles I kept reading, they talked about how great this movie was, that other movie was, and how this was cynical and expletive and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, but people like it, and there's a reason why people like it, and it's like because it connects to the original. And it's sentimental, but it's okay. It's really okay. And
what's wrong with having some feelings in a movie? Jesus,
and
that's coming from me, and I'm dead inside.
If you didn't grow up with this movie and it didn't connect for you, then fine. But for all of us that did,
I'm curious what kids like. Because a kid could go to this movie and be like, "Oh, this kid's my age." What's a 12-year-old think about this? So, have you known any kids that saw it, Todd?
I do not at this point. No.
I'm curious.
My 17-year-old didn't love it as much as I did because he thought it was too much reliant on the original movie.
Yeah,
but he's also a movie critic himself.
He's a tomato meter.
Yeah, here's the thing. The original movie was lightning in a bottle. Okay, they nailed that. There's nothing quite like that before that, and there's nothing quite like it that worked as well afterwards.
Certainly not the sequel,
including
the original
sequel. Okay. If they tried to better or best that movie, it would have fallen flat in its face. Being something that that exists as a tie as a epilogue to that movie works perfectly fine. It truly does. And if you if you need to have seen Ghostbusters or appreciate Ghostbusters to see this movie, that's perfectly fine.
But so then we get to the final scene post credits, and it makes me a little concerned because going back to the Force Awakens analogy, like Force Awakens worked for a lot of reasons, but the movies that followed didn't quite follow as much. Like, I don't know that if they were to revamp this and now Winston's gonna reopen the firehouse and he's gonna fix up the Ecto-1.
I think he's gonna make a shrine.
He's gonna bring those kids in and they're gonna make another movie. Like,
I don't think so.
I'm curious to see what happens.
I think that's going to be a shrine. I think that's just he's.
I just don't need to see it. I don't know that I need another movie.
I don't need it.
Like this was
and that's
perfect
just it.
bookend.
In this day and age of sequels, though, it's tricky.
This is the. I hope they're smart enough to stop now. This was closure, and that we, it works. And I think the Ecto-1 going back to the garage was just kind of bringing things back for full circle, and that's where it ends.
Felt to me
and Jason Reitman's he's not this Hollywood machine guy, so I don't know if he's like, we have to have a sequel.
Well, no, it doesn't. But the studio owns it. Jason and Ivan don't.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I don't think this did
let me ask
great.
you guys a question. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
I don't think this did so great that they're jumping on this with a sequel. I think this is,
Well, we'll see. We'll see when all is said and done, when digital dollars come in and all that. We'll see if they feel like it made enough to warrant a sequel. But so let me ask you a question. Not counting, I'm sure you both looked it up after the fact, but while you were in the theater, did you recognize who was playing Gozer?
No.
I thought it was Parker Posey, to be quite honest with you. It looked like Parker Posey to me. Do you know it was Olivia Wilde?
Oh, totally did not know that.
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't know that either. I'm like,
that's not what Parker Posey looks like now. But
no, I know it's not what she looks like now.
Looks like Dr. Smith.
But there was plenty of CG going on, and but yeah, it was Olivia Wilde. She's uncredited, but she played it.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Is she dating Harry Styles? Oh, no.
So thumbs up for me for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved it.
This was what I wanted it to be. Period. And I just, like I said, it's see, the thing is, I tried specifically not to read reviews, and then afterwards I was just gobsmacked at how just universally they shit on it, and it's like, that's not the movie that I saw. So, yeah, no, I
one of the things, and actually the interview that I listened to was on Cinema Blend podcast with Ivan Reitman and Jason Reitman, and they talked a lot about the making of it, and they purposely used the same color palettes, and they tried to match the cinematography to the original and really make it feel like it was in the same world, and they put a lot of thought into it, and they went back and got the original sound effects. They were able to get those out of the vaults, and there was even a scene from the original movie that they shot with Jason Reitman and his mom, and they pulled that footage and put it into this in one of the TV scenes that they were showing. So, like, there was a lot of stuff that they did that when you start reading about it, you're like, oh wow, that's really cool that they put that much thought into it.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of videos on Tested too. Adam Savage interviewed Jason in one. He also, those that something death whistle or whatever. He actually built those. He and Jason are friends, so he had him build the prop.
Oh, that's cool.
He went to the set. So there's a bunch of videos on Tested. Check them out.
I had seen those, but I didn't want to watch any of them because I didn't want it to spoil anything.
There weren't I watched them all. There weren't really any spoilers.
He also has for what it's worth, he's got an interview with the guy from Hasbro that I guess is leading that Proton Pack project.
I saw that one too.
They had the prototype there.
I ordered it after I watched that.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Because I was on the fence, but I figured I'd always flip it, but it does look pretty awesome.
I was tempted, but I'm just looking around my basement.
For $3.99,
where am I going to hang that thing?
It's just a lot. It's a big thing, and it's
a big commitment.
It's a big thing when I've got a tumbler and a bat pod coming. So
I may wear it. I will wear it at one point. I have the whole costume except for the Proton Pack. So,
all right. Well, it's been a little while since there was something we universally loved.
Yeah, this is weird, but yes, and again, I think
now let's transition into something
completely different. And now for something completely different.
Okay, we're gonna go to Discovery season 4. There's been 3 episodes.
4.
There's not 4.
Yes, there's 4.
There's 4.
It's 4 episodes. 4? Yeah, I watched episode 4 yesterday.
What was that about?
It was about the alien race that the Burnham's mother's.
Yeah, did I miss one then?
I don't know. They all kind of blend together.
I don't. Okay, I need to look something up, but.
Okay, can I just start by saying...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the asymmetrical uniforms look fucking dumb. It's like everybody walks around looking like they button their outfit wrong. It's just like, oh my God. It's just...
Those uniforms look like they should be dress uniforms. They don't look
like
they're...
They do like dress uniforms, but
they
also
put the whole...
okay, I could live with the asymmetrical collar, but that was like a fad thing that they got over, they got over 1,200 years ago. Now, like, the bottom of the tunic is asymmetrical. It's like, it's...
Okay, but what does it say about this series that the first thing you wanted to talk about was the uniforms?
No, I'm saying from minute one
there's
this season...
There's only 3 episodes.
Are you sure? I thought it was 4.
Kobayashi Maru, Anomaly,
I think it is 4.
and
I think they just
live.
seem like so much longer that
I apologize then for correcting you. I thought it was 4.
I think
because I was dreading having to watch 3 yesterday, and I only watched 2, and I was done.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as. I mean, you take out the couple of things that we really don't like whatever, but there's action, there's a mission. It's fine. This is not great. I think it's better than it was last season.
I think that it to me, if this were any other sci-fi series on any other network, it would be okay, and I probably wouldn't watch it. The fact that it's got the name Star Trek on it, I expect more, and I'm not getting it.
I think I would stop watching if it weren't. Honestly, this isn't a crew. This is a therapy group. Okay?
It is. Everybody's
got an issue, and honestly, if you don't have an issue, you don't get screen time. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like, I'd like to hear something.
Look at the bridge crew.
Detmer or somebody else who just isn't angsty about every freaking thing. I thought Tilly was progressing, and now, like, apparently she wasn't getting enough attention,
funny when she dropped
she's
the sword.
backsliding, and she's
Yeah, she was funny when she dropped the sword, but I wrote a couple notes for myself, and one of the things I wrote, Tilly, really Starfleet material, ? Like, there have been moments of greatness in the last 4 seasons with her, but for the most part, she's a mess.
Tilly is lower deck science officer. She is not.
She's not the person who take an away mission, and it's just like to build her confidence up. I think it would be a wonderful idea. Build her confidence up if she's not killed or gets you killed. I mean.
Yeah, that was a very life or death situation, and you don't send the person who needs it the most.
Needs a little confidence
send the person
boost.
who's best qualified.
That's all. That's what you do. You just send that person down.
It's very. It's the whole show is very. I mean, there's so many things you can say about it. It's not like what Starfleet is.
No,
at all.
And Burnham, and I know Sean actually, our friend Sean commented on this on Facebook, but Burnham talks so softly.
Yeah, she does.
Now, in her private life, when she's talking to her boyfriend or whatever, but also when she's on missions and when it's critical, she whispers everything. It
is hard to hear.
It's not, but it's not even in a command. She's a captain, be a command, and she's whispering all the time. So it's annoying.
My thing is, it like, do they have so many personal issues that they couldn't deal with one per episode? Because like. I think it's a really significant thing that this guy's entire planet was destroyed and he's in the process of dealing with this, okay? But that's one of 3 people in this episode who had significant, emotional challenges. It's like, just, really? the people writing these subplots didn't say, wow, this is kind of a lot for right now? Is there so much more ahead?
They want to be like this. They want to appeal to the whiny generation.
Oh my
and that's
God.
not what Star Trek
like,
is.
This is, suck it up. I'm sorry, yes, it's like all these people going through something, but it's like, that is, oh my God. I just, like...
There's no one who's a badass in this thing at all.
And...
No, you're right.
And again, there's also crew members who've been around for 3 years who would be interesting to see what they're doing and maybe
the
involve
bridge crew
them.
seems very interesting, and we don't see anything. The girl with the robot eye,
Detmer,
the girl who's at the other console,
I'd like to see something
the
from her
dude behind,
perspective.
the two dudes. I don't know who any
they
of their
gave us
names
one
are.
episode from the perspective of Robot Head, and then they killed her.
But then they replaced her with the actress that played her.
Yeah, I know.
As
But I'm saying
human.
who now gets one kind of half line every episode. It's I
So
feel like they
I've
have
got-
all the pieces on the board, and they just don't use them.
But what's really frustrating too is that the production value is totally there. So they're spending the money.
No question.
Like the scenes in that episode that we watched this weekend, where they're up on that huge platform and they fix the stasis tubes and all the tubes start lighting. I mean, that was some really high quality special effects. But Tilly's going to disable the engine, and then she's going to re-enable it. And Burnham, who's not even a science officer or a tech officer, she's got that amount of time to fix these cryopods, or this other person's going to kill them. And then it just was like, really? It was crazy.
The other thing is,
I think the whole thing is,
why couldn't that person explain why was she willing to kill somebody rather than explain what she was doing?
Actually,
and
how many
what
people
Starfleet
died? It
got?
wasn't just
okay,
one.
The other thing, what Starfleet commander, no less, would be like, don't take the dilithium. Oh, we're just giving it to anyone. I'm going to give my life for something. They basically was like, we have pallets of water we're giving to anybody who wants it, but I'm going to put my give my life up to protect it
to keep you from getting
that.
it.
Is ridiculous.
And
they have designed Starfleet into like Starfleet's just like it's really anyone who's got an issue. That's what Starfleet is, as opposed to Starfleet is the best of the best and the bravest and all this. I'm sorry that you want to design it to look like everyone who's got an emotional crisis, But that dude died to protect shit that they were giving away anyway.
Yes, yeah,
made no sense.
Oh, and that the other thing is that woman was perfectly willing to kill him for when clearly she had the skills to disarm him and do whatever. I mean.
But not just him. She was prepared to kill 3 other people.
Yeah. Oh,
how many people have to die for something that they would have given you willingly if you had just explained yourself?
If she had just explained. And then the other thing, too, is like, we've never really heard of this order before Picard. And now it's one of the things that survived,
900 years.
And I got to say, the choose to live thing I think is cool whenever they do that. It's kind of, but... Like, it just didn't ring true to me that this woman, like I said, just could not stop and explain what she was doing when what she was doing was clearly the right thing. She was just doing it the wrong way.
It didn't. There's no reason to have anyone die over this. It's
no.
They kind of really changed.
Particularly when this thing has been out there for forever. Okay, so if it took like an extra 6 months to get dilithium, if she went through channels. Gets those Navarre people to go. I mean,
what was the rush?
The rush was that their bodies had latinum in them, and that they were grave robbers stealing the latinum.
Yeah,
the fact that the anomaly was coming.
So put some protective
could potentially be coming.
V'ger was coming.
Could potentially be coming, but we don't know that. So you see what I'm saying? She's like, in case it comes, I need the dilithium now. It's like the planet you just took the dilithium away from. Do they need it now also potentially? It's like, how many people did you kill to save these people that potentially killed to save these people that
somebody else was willing to give it to you for free?
The writing is just not.
Yeah,
it's just not Star Trek. And now, so here's one thing that I wanted to mention because this bothers me. and this has been a Star Trek trope forever, but like you would think they would have fixed it by now. Every time they're in a ship and that ship takes fire, chunks of stuff fall from the ceiling.
I was going to talk about that.
And then
there was
fire,
so much shit on the ground. What was that?
Gray styrofoam
what are they
blocks
building
fall
these
from-
ships out of? That there's that much chunks of stuff falling from
Did
the
you
ceiling.
look on the ground? It's like charcoal was all over the ground.
I know.
What was that?
And they've always
and
done this,
sparks
and it's
and
like,
flames.
There's actually some funny YouTube videos
Jim Bush
that show
pointed out there shouldn't be flames.
Because it's they need shit to fly out, and it's basically chunks of styrofoam.
But I'm looking at the ground after it. There was like a 55-gallon drum full of chunks of stuff that was like, what was that?
Yeah.
But it's
It
that,
didn't look
it's
like
the
buttons.
sparks, and it's the flames. And then in this week's episode, they're in, I guess, the equivalent of 10 Forward in the bar we've never seen before. And they've got fireplaces going. Like, why would you have open flames inside of a starship?
It's probably
It's a
simulations,
hologram.
Maybe. But the flames coming out of the ceiling when the ship got hit weren't holograms.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No, the chunks got me. I'm like,
it's
are you
enough
kidding me?
already. It was
Everything
so
is
overdone.
intact, but there's so many pieces of shit on the floor.
Yeah,
It's so overdone.
and that's what I'm saying. It's just like I said. There's, this is the fourth time at bat for them. It's like, honestly, there were elements in the second season that were good. Okay. Last year, not so much. I
This
actually
show
don't.
should not have an arc that lasts an entire
No, you
season.
shouldn't have an arc. They
It's
should
where
have
they're
learned that
making
by
a
now.
huge mistake.
I actually don't mind Book. I think there's ways they could use him, and have him be a scout, have him be whatever, but it's like if he's just one more person with issues, it's like why?
And I hate his ship design. I hate his ship
Yeah,
design.
I do too. But if it's like if they're
like the
using
cat.
him to like help them reunify these these separated planets and stuff like that, there's a way they could tie him into the story and have it make sense, other than that he's the captain's boyfriend who's hanging around.
Well, but he could be the everyman's point of view, our perspective.
But I mean, he's
on
also the
things.
one who's been all over this section of the universe that they pulled back from. So there's uses for this guy, but like I said, they've got to get into doing that. And I didn't. At one point I wondered whether they were going to tie this into the wave from Generations. That the wave that
the Nexus.
the Nexus. It's like one more big space anomaly that they're going to spend an entire season trying to figure out, and then they'll talk.
Burnham's going to whisper
they'll
to it,
talk
and
to it
it's
and make
gonna-
friends. Now,
Yeah,
let me ask
Burnham
you
will
this.
whisper to it.
How in the hell does this ship not have a counselor? Okay, it's like that poor freaking doctor has got to be the counselor in addition to being the head doctor.
Chief medical officer. Yeah.
It's like you got this many people with issues on a ship, and like you couldn't come up with the 30th century equivalent of Deanna Troi who could sit there
You
and
would
make
think
obvious
Starfleet
statements.
would be 50% counselors, given how many people have issues
Absolutely.
in the
It's
century.
Yeah.
It is nutty.
Yeah, there's just aspects of the storyline that I just wish didn't exist. But outside of that, the rest of it's just not that good.
It really isn't. And see if there's anything else in my notes here. If she just explained, yeah.
And what's with those away uniforms? They look like the Mirror Universe uniforms.
It kind of did. I gotta say.
That was weird.
Yep. It's
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell us what you think. I don't know if anyone likes it. Tell us what you think of Ghostbusters, because hopefully everyone likes it. Okay, let's go what's in the box, even though we shouldn't.
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, you're the bad guy, so what's in the box?
Well, so my birthday recently passed, and my parents gave me a check for my birthday, so I used it to buy myself something. So technically, I guess I bought myself something, but it came in a bag. But I got Dave Grohl's new book. I know I've had the audiobook and I listened to it, but this is the signed edition. I guess.
Did you buy that on the secondary market, or
I
the?
did, but I actually got a very good deal on it. I guess they put more of these out for Black Friday, and Barnes & Noble's had some. So, of course, people went in and bought them all up.
Yeah.
I paid about double cover price for it, which is actually, I thought,
Not
very
bad.
good considering
Not bad for
what they're
something
going
signed.
for. No, so I'm super thrilled. I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. I think Dave Grohl is awesome. So happy
Dave
to add
Grohl
this
is
to
awesome.
my signed book collection.
Cool.
So that's
Cool.
what's in my box. Todd, what's in your box?
Okay, so this is something that Barry spent my money on last week when he told me there was a 40% off sale at Eagle Moss. Okay, so guys, now just for a second, I just want you to close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes, both of you. Do it. Okay, keep them closed. Keep them closed. Oh no. Okay, now you can open them. Hold on here. Gotta do it. There we go. Yep. Okay. So
Interchangeable
this
heads.
is a 1/6 scale Weeping Angel statue from
Eagle Moss?
from Eagle Moss. This was way too expensive, and they had it marked down about a third. And then Barry pointed out that even stuff on sale was 40% off, and this was ridiculously cheap. This is exactly the right size to go with the Big Chief Eagle Moss figures. And it's awesome. It's got interchangeable heads. It's creepy as hell. They did a good job with the paint. There's kind of the fade into the lower thing. And
That's odd that they built it something in that
they
scale.
did. They made it in a couple different sizes, but this thing is it's beautiful. And
Yeah, Todd sent me some pictures of that yesterday. He's like, look what you spent my money on.
yeah, and just very, very cool. And again, I literally got this thing for a third of what they originally put it up for. And
Which is probably the right price for it, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it's probably. I mean,
it's an obscure thing.
it's an obscure thing, but it's like, you know, I would have spent $15-$20 more for it. You know, I wouldn't have spent twice as much for it. And I'm super pleased. Like I said, it's going to go in the case with the doctors that I've got, and I love the original uses. They've overused the character and too much in recent years, but in its original incarnation, it was creepy as hell. And
yeah.
and it's
I
great.
mean, because it was pretty sparingly in the Matt Smith years.
Yep. And
This new doctor, supposedly everyone thinks she sucks, right?
yeah, and so it's
Yeah,
I'm
I've
working
been
my way
hearing-
through this season, but it's hard.
I haven't watched a single episode after the premiere with her. Not that I don't have a problem with her, but I hear it's not good.
It's not.
Yeah, everything that I'm seeing, all the Facebook posts from people I know that like the show, everybody's been negative about it.
I think I have like 30 episodes on my
Yeah.
DVR. and
I
I'm
stopped
like,
recording them.
It's
anyway.
it's not good. So I'll watch it. I've watched all of it. I won't finish it, but it's just yeah. So anyway, so that's my thing. Dave, what do you got?
I am wearing my What's in the Box. It's my Ray's Occult T-shirt that I bought to go see Ghostbusters.
Oh, that is awesome.
nice.
I wanted one for Ghostbusters. This is a T-Fury one. A couple people make them. It's cool. You can choose the color. I didn't need another black T-shirt. And this came in a long sleeve. Not
sweet.
T-Fury. T-Public. So it's Ray's Occult. It's on Bleecker Street. 7 p.m. weekends, midnight on Saturday. So when I had seen the trailer and they show Ray in his Ray's Occult bookstore, I'm like, oh, that would be a pretty good obscure thing.
I need that.
So I had
That's
bought
great.
me and Pam and Mark Ghostbusters shirts to go see the movie.
That's great.
That's cool.
So that's what's in the box.
So I know how you especially have this thing about us not supposed to buy ourselves things this time of year. I actually stayed up until midnight the other night to order something for myself that I knew nobody else was going to order. So when that comes in, that'll be a what's in the box
Yep.
We'll see
as
about
well.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okie dokie. So next week, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out before
What do
then.
we have left? I'm trying to think. Oh, Lost in Space. Did you guys watch any Lost in
I
Space?
haven't watched it yet, no.
I watched the first two.
I watched all of it.
You what?
I watched all of it.
What's wrong
What
with
do you know? What's wrong with me? It's like I watched all
lot.
of it.
You watched 10 episodes?
It's only 8.
8?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I will get to
Anyway.
it, but probably not anytime soon. I just started the Beatles documentary on Apple Plus, and I was told it was 3 2-hour episodes, but that's not true. First one's 2 hours and 37 minutes. Second one's 3 hours, and then the third one is like 2 something. So I'm working my way through that first. I definitely want to watch Lost in Space though, so I will get to it.
Yeah, no, I started watching it. Anyway,
I feel
we'll
like,
talk about
do
it
they
later.
give you anything at the beginning that sort of says previously on?
Yeah,
'Cause
they do, but there's a lot going
'Cause it's
on.
been
a lot going
while
on.
since-
I will say, and it's not a huge spoiler because it's in the first few minutes, but there's a time jump, and they need to have a time jump. And I think how they do the time jump is very clever because it says 3 days later, and then 96 come in, kind of fade in after the 3, so it's actually 396 days later. And that's why Will is fully a foot and a half taller than he was.
right? Yeah.
He's probably a foot taller.
Yeah.
And he's the tallest person in the cast now. It's crazy. Like he leans down to hug his father. Okay. It's like, so, but.
Yeah.
Well,
so
there's
anyway,
a
maybe
lot
something not
of good
TV
stuff
related
coming.
or movie related next week. I don't know what that's going to be, but we'll figure that out.
Yep. So.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.